vinyl friends and vinyl community. It's Brian for Brian's Vinyl Records, and it is time for my January 2023 vinyl haul. This one is a big one, and let me tell you why. I bought a bunch of stuff, including a large collection of Chet Atkins on vinyl. I bought a few box sets. I bought some Japanese pressings, of course. I bought some soundtracks, some new releases, and a few other items. Now, I went overboard this month mainly because I used the money that I got from the holidays to purchase some things that normally maybe I wouldn't have gotten in the past. And those are mostly these box sets. And we'll talk about those coming up. But right now, let's start with the Chet Atkins collection. So a buddy of mine down in Alabama, he goes around and buys vinyl collections all over the place, and one of the things he found was a lot of Chet Atkins records that were in pretty good shape, and he mentioned that in a group that I'm in, and I mentioned, hey, if you have any like duplicates or anything like that, let me know. I'd be interested in purchasing some of those from you. So he sent me a video with all the Chet Atkins that he picked up and said, pick whatever you want out of there, and we'll come up with a price. I'll send them to you. If you're happy, send me the money. So that's what we did, and let's take a look at what I got. I'm pretty excited about this. So first up, we got Chet Atkins. This is Relaxin' with Chet. Next, we have Chet Atkins at Home. The next one we have is Yestergroovin'. Then we have Pickin' My Way. Finger Pickin' Good. The Most Popular Guitar. Guitar Country. Chet Atkins and his guitar. My favorite guitars. And my personal favorite, the one I'm looking most forward to listening to, Picks on the Beatles. This should be pretty cool. Great song list on here. Should be really fun. So Chet Atkins, if you don't know, is a country guitar player aficionado, you could say. And so one of the interesting pieces with him, he was the guitar player for the Carter family when they went in and recorded. And he was so good that a lot of the studio musicians in Nashville tried to have him blackballed from being allowed to play studio sessions. The Carters stood up for him and said that ain't happening, and because of that, he became one of the most requested session guitarists in Nashville for country music back in the early 50s and 60s. I got into him by picking up an album that included himself and Mark Knopfler playing guitar together, and put out a whole album of songs, and it was just fantastic. After that, I found a album of his and picked it up and really enjoyed that. I picked up his Christmas album, and I picked up another one and really enjoyed that. So when this opportunity came, I had to pick up as many of the Chet Atkins albums as I can. I've already listened to a few of them. They're absolutely fantastic. If you love guitar music or just instrumental music in general, he plays a wide variety of things: country music, rock music, pop music, jazz music, all sorts of stuff. I mean, he's got a lot of albums, and he goes through all sorts of different genres, and really relaxing, really enjoyable music to listen to. So super pumped to have that Chet Atkins stuff in my new collection here. All right, let's get into everything else here. We'll start with some new releases that came out in January. First up, really excited about this one, the new album from Elle King, Come Get Your Wife. If you don't know, Elle King is the daughter of Rob Schneider of The Copy Guy and Saturday Night Live fame. This is his daughter. She is a phenomenal bluesy pop rock artist, and I have her first two albums, and when this one was announced, I pre-ordered it right away. Super excited. It's really good. I listened to it already, and it's absolutely fantastic. So Elle King. Next up, I was super excited about this one as well. This is Margot Price and her album Strays. the indie exclusive version on this cool purple vinyl that we got here. Just really good stuff. And if you know anything about Margo Price, she's absolutely fantastic. Country music, Americana music. Really, really dig her stuff. And this is an excellent, excellent album from her. Next up, I mentioned last month that when I saw the season 2 soundtrack released for this, I was hoping that they'd put out season 1. A couple days later, I did find season 1. This is The Mandalorian season 1 soundtrack. It came out on picture disc before. Now it is finally available on this kind of bone white color vinyl, and sounds super good. Way better than that picture disc sounded. And the last new release I picked up was this one here. This is Third Eye Blind Unplugged. And man, this is absolutely fantastic. These are acoustic renditions of a lot of their hit songs, and it sounds spectacular. Just a really, really good album. Highly recommend this if you're a Third Eye Blind fan. All right, some other things that I picked up. This one was on clearance at Target. I didn't pick it up before, and I'm glad I waited because I think I got it for like $5. This is the new Kelly Clarkson Christmas album. This one's called When Christmas Comes Around. Obviously, I have not listened to this yet, but really excited about that. Comes on white vinyl. Next up, this one I picked up because my wife is a huge fan of this artist, and I saw this at a local shop and decided to grab it. This is Lori Morgan. This is her A Picture of Me Greatest Hits album on pink vinyl. And yeah, this is awesome. Songs on here, Watch Me was a big hit for her. 5 Minutes is a big hit for her. What Part of No is a big hit for her. My wife loves all that stuff, so I grabbed this and she was super excited about it. One of her favorites to listen to. All right, so last month I showed you a Dave Matthews Band album that I picked up, and that was really my foray into Dave Matthews. I picked it up initially for my wife because she had the CD, and I thought she'd enjoy it. She only listened to one track on there ever, so it was kind of a dismal pickup for her, but I really enjoyed it. So I decided to pick up their first album, which is Under the Table and Dreaming, Dave Matthews Band. And I enjoyed that so much that a buddy sent me this album. This one is called Big Whiskey and the Gru Grux King. This is an awesome album. This is probably my favorite of the ones I have so far. It's really, really good stuff. So I picked that up as well. And then I also picked up his latest album. This one is called Come Tomorrow. And this one was interesting to me because this is a very chill album compared to the rest. The rest have a bunch of upbeat, rockin' tunes. This one is very laid back, very, you could sit back and just relax with this one, I think. There are a couple of more upbeat tunes, but for the most part, these are very chill vibe of an album. So that was pretty cool. All right, I also have been really getting into the Austin City Limits series, and I picked up another one of those. This is Eric Johnson, guitar virtuoso. Cliffs of Dover was his huge hit from back in the day, and this was a really good price I found on Amazon for it, and so I grabbed it, and it's fantastic, absolutely phenomenal. Eric Johnson. I grabbed Nickelback's All the Right Reasons. This was a huge album back in the day, and the song Photograph on here I really, really enjoy, and then Rockstar is a fun anthem as well. So I picked this up. Now I have this and their first album on vinyl. There's only one other one I really want to get that I just can't find so far. Grab this. This was on sale, and I found it unopened in my local record store. And this is one that I always regretted not grabbing. I just never got into Ryan Adams a whole lot, and so I never bothered to get this. And I listened to it, and I really enjoyed it. And by the time I wanted to pick it up, I just couldn't find it on vinyl. My local record store had a brand new sealed copy in their new arrivals bin for a pretty darn good price compared to what I see it go for online. So I grabbed it and added it to my collection. It sounds absolutely fantastic. It's a fun take on Taylor Swift's 1989 album. He covers every song on that album in his style, and some of them are just absolutely fantastic. Some of them are okay, but most of them are really fantastically done stuff. Great interpretation of that album. He also did a similar thing with Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska album. I'm not a big Bruce Springsteen guy. I did listen to it, and I just don't know the songs enough to care much about it. But if you're a fan of Bruce Springsteen, check out his cover of the whole album of Nebraska. All right, pick this one up on the recommendation of a bunch of people. Now, I was a big Pantera fan back in the mid-90s, growing up with some friends who just love Pantera. Saw them several times in concert. They put on a great show, was a huge fan, but never really got into this one for some reason. I'm not sure why. And people said, you've got to get this album. It's absolutely great. It's just awesome. So I did, and they're right, man. This is Down. The album is called NOLA. And wow, like this, you could imagine this being a Pantera album. Phil Anselmo, the vocalist for Pantera, is on this. It's a super group formed by him and some people, and it's just really, really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't believe it took me this long to find and listen to this album. And next, this was sent to me as a gift from another friend of mine on one of the vinyl groups that I'm part of. And he had said that his kids had got him a copy of it for Christmas to replace this version, which had a little bit of a warp in it, and that because of that, he would send it to me for free, and if I wanted to try to get the warp out, I could have it. So he sent it over. This is Suicidal Tendencies. The album is called How Will I Laugh Tomorrow. I, before then, never really listened to Suicidal Tendencies. In the day, I was a Metallica, Megadeth guy, never really got into the other big groups, Slayer, Anthrax, Suicidal Tendencies, any of that stuff. Just never crossed my path. So I said, sure, I'll give it a try. It's pretty darn good. I really enjoyed listening to this, so I may pick up a couple more of their albums. I did see these guys in concert. They opened for Megadeth one show that I went to, and the thing I came away with was that the lead singer was absolutely nuts. He was constantly running around the stage, waving his arms, singing the songs. It was just wild and crazy to watch him on stage. It was quite entertaining. So that was really the only taste of Suicidal Tendencies I ever had. But yeah, thank you to Craig for sending me this pretty cool gift, and definitely enjoyed it. All right, next up, the next three I want to show you. Vinyl Me Please has been putting out some cool stuff here and there, and I've always thought about joining Vinyl Me Please, but it never, for the price, it never really appealed to me, the stuff that they were releasing, until recently when they started the country track and things like that. They released a couple albums I really, really wanted on vinyl. So I looked into signing up and being part of the club, but in the long run, I decided against doing that and just purchasing the albums that I wanted straight out. Just looking at the titles they've been releasing, they're not things that I really want. I'm not a big fan of some of the stuff that they're putting out right now, so I didn't need it. So I just decided to pay the really overpriced cost of Vinyl Me Please records for non-club members and just get them straight out as a one-time thing. It ended up saving me some dollars for signing up for 3 months versus just buying the 3 I wanted anyway. So that's what I did. The first one I picked up was this one, Grateful Dead, In the Dark. Now, Grateful Dead is an artist I really never ever listened to. The only song I ever knew was Touch of Grey. So people would always post Grateful Dead albums in the groups that I'm in, and I would always say, hey, is Touch of Grey on that? And so I finally found out this is where Touch of Grey is. So I've been looking for this album forever because I really like the song Touch of Grey. Can't find it anywhere. It's never in the used bins at any of my record stores. I don't know when the last time it was really pressed was, but Vinyl Me Please had it. And honestly, the price on this wasn't too bad. I think this was only $33. So compared to other vinyl prices, that wasn't really bad. And this one comes on this cool, like, blue smoke color, I guess. They call it, blue paint that by numbers morning sky vinyl. whatever. But I picked it up, and I honestly really enjoyed this album as a whole. Touch of Grey was the first song, so that was awesome. I knew that song. I jammed to that, and then listened to the rest of the album. It's really good. I like this a lot. For someone who's a casual fan like me, who doesn't really know them, this is a great album to listen to. So I was super excited to pick that up. Now, the ones I really wanted were started with this one here. This is Miranda Lambert's Revolution album, a phenomenal album from Miranda Lambert. I love Miranda Lambert. I wish that she would put a lot of her back catalog on vinyl. I know she started with platinum, which is awesome. I picked that up. This is now out there, but again, Vinyl Me Please was the only place that sold it, so you had to pick it up there. But what I really like about it is this. We got the split vinyl, pinkish mauve they call it, and black. Really cool look to it. Sound is fantastic. So this was more expensive one. I think this one cost me $50, but I'm happy to have it in my catalog. It sounds really, really good, and they just do a really good job with these packaging on this. This one has a booklet that talks about the songs and things like that. I haven't looked through it fully yet. I wish they would have done a gatefold on this. The other two that I bought had gatefolds. This one, for some reason, does not. I wish they would have put it in gatefold, but it's still fantastic, and I'm super pumped about having it. And then the last one I wanted, this one came out afterwards, John Michael Montgomery's self-titled album. This album was huge for me in my late high school and early college years. My wife and I used to listen to John Michael Montgomery a ton, and this was one of the mainstay albums that we listened to. Of course, has Sold on it, which is a huge song for John Michael Montgomery. It also has Life's a Dance, Long As I Live on here. It's got I Can Love You Like That on here. Just really, really kick-ass album. And I was super pumped to see that get a vinyl release. But again, it was only at Vinyl Me Please. So I bit the bullet and paid the $43, I think, or $42 or whatever it was that this went for, and bought it from Vinyl Me Please. Again, sounds absolutely fantastic. It's beautiful. Great tip-on jackets. Great. I mean, this is hard, sturdy jacket. Cool red vinyl. Everything about it, fantastic. So I've resigned myself to believing that if another album comes out that I really want from Vinyl Me Please, I'm just gonna order it from them. I'll pay the extra price. At this point, they're a premium audiophile product, similar to a MoFi. So you gotta expect to pay a little more for the quality you're getting. So happy to have those 3 albums into my collection now as well. All right, only a couple soundtracks this month, and we start off with, of course, Stranger Things scores finally were dropped, and we got Volume 1. This one is called the Max's Blue World Edition. Comes on this cool blue vinyl. So this is Volume 1 for Season 4. And then, of course, Volume 2 came out as well at the same time. This is Vecna's Red World, and on the red vinyl. So the two together, Max's Blue World, Vecna's Red World, are the full score for Season 4 of Stranger Things. I love the scores on these things. They're just such a cool vibe, and that TV series is absolutely fantastic. So I was super pumped when those came out. I wasn't excited about the fact that they both cost $34 a piece, but such is life. That's how things are these days. Last but not least, for soundtracks, I picked up Halloween Ends. This is now completing my Halloween proper collection, at least, with the John Carpenter stuff. That has been at least on vinyl. The only thing I'm missing is Season of the Witch, which is Halloween 3. Doesn't really count as a Halloween movie to me, even though it has the title. I will pick up the soundtrack eventually. I know that it's available on Mondo's website, but I'm hoping that sometime soon they'll have a sale so I can pick it up for a little less than $35, I think, that they charge for it. Just because, how many times can you listen to Silver Shamrock theme without wanting to punch something? Anyway, Halloween Ends, great soundtrack again, and I did pick it up on the the orange vinyl. There's many options, but everything I have for Halloween so far is on the orange vinyl, so I would like to keep it that way. All right, next up, let's talk about Japanese pressings. got a handful of this one. One of the places that I typically buy my Japanese pressings from reached out to me just at the end of the holidays there and said, hey, we've got a bunch of overstock that we've had here for a while that just isn't moving out of the store. We'd like to send it to 10 of our customers, and you're one of the customers we sell to most often, and offer these to you at a 33% discount. So I was like, sweet, sounds good. So they sent me a ton of videos with a bunch of stuff in them that I could pick up for, you know, pennies on the dollar, really, if you think about it, for Japanese stuff. The first ones I picked out are this one here. This is Jeff Beck, and this album is called There and Back. Jeff Beck unfortunately passed away in January, which is really sad, but I was super happy to get this. This one I think I paid a whopping $7 for. I mean, just really cheap. And the main reason is because it's missing the obi strip, but otherwise it's in perfect condition, and couldn't pass that up at all. Next one I grabbed was Neil Young's first album as a solo artist, and yeah, this is really good. And again, missing the obi strip, so this was cheap as well. I can't remember what I paid for it, but way less than it goes for online, even with missing obi. So super pumped about that. Another one that I grabbed, this is pretty great. Aerosmith Rocks album, Back in the Saddle, of course, is the big hit off of this one. But how cool is that gold obi strip, huh? That is just fantastic. Just awesome. So super pumped to pick that up. Then, of course, I grabbed Grand Funk's We're an American Band. This is just a great album, and one that was sorely missing from my collection. And I've actually looked for it a few times, but when this one showed up in the list with obi strip and everything, I had to grab that. Again, dirt cheap on that one. Let's see here. What else did I grab from that? This one here. I picked this up from there. This is Air Supply's Greatest Hits. Why not? Air Supply was a huge pop vocal band back in the 80s. And of course, big hits. Let's see here. They had huge hits in the pop radio. We got Lost in Love, Even the Nights Are Better, The One You Love, Making Love Out of Nothing at All was probably one of their most famous hits. All Out of Love is a huge hit for them. Just really cool. So I thought, you know, I think this one ran me about $8. For $8, this thing is in mint condition, and can't pass that up. So I picked it up to add to my collection, and super pumped about that. And I think that is going to do it for the Japanese presses that were part of that large sale. Everything else I paid a regular price for, which on some of these isn't very much. But let's start here. I grabbed Night Ranger's 7 Wishes album. Cool obi strip on that. Pick that up. I also grabbed Night Ranger's This Is Big Life. Another one with a nice obi strip on that. Then I grabbed Janet Jackson's Control album. Really good album. I think this is the first time she worked with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Yeah, this is the first album they did together, and really fantastic. So happy to add that to the collection. I grabbed Paul McCartney's Tug of War. Of course, the big hit off of here, Ebony and Ivory with Stevie Wonder. Really good album, though, from Paul. I grabbed Steve Winwood's Back in the High Life. This is just one of those albums I just love. It reminds me of my dad. He absolutely loved this album. I remember as a kid listening to the track Higher Love on here over and over again. Back in the High Life is a huge song. Hopefully I can find Roll With It as well, Japanese pressing, because that's another great Steve Winwood album I'd love to have in the collection. And last but not least, I grabbed David Lee Roth, Eat 'Em and Smile album. Phenomenal album. Steve Vai on guitar on this one. Yeah, Yankee Rose is the huge hit off of here. We got Tobacco Road cover on here, and Crazy for the Heat is on here as well, which is called Going Crazy. Really good David Lee Roth solo album. Probably his best solo album. I think it beats Skyscraper out, but really good stuff. and super pumped to add that to my collection as well. All right, so that does that. So last but certainly not least, I used a lot of my Christmas money that I got to buy some box set stuff that I've been wanting for a while and just haven't felt the urge to pull the plug on. One of them is a brand new release, which I knew I wanted right away because it has the albums I'm missing from my collection of that artist and that I love. So we'll get to that last. But first up, I picked up the Soundgarden box set live from the Artist's Den. It's a live concert that they did for PBS TV show. Put it out on vinyl. It sounds absolutely fantastic. Great set. Chris Cornell is top notch on this. It's just so good, so good. So I was super happy to pick up this box set. It's a 4 LP set, and sound is awesome. So super happy to pick that up and add that to my collection. The other one here is, this is the one I wanted. There's a cheaper version of this out there on 3 LP that has the exact same set list, the exact same performance by the same group, everything, but it's not as cool and fancy. And since this is one of my wife's favorite book series of all time, and we love the movies, the family loves this, and this packaging is super cool, I grabbed this version of the complete Harry Potter music collection set. Now, what's cool about this particular version is that it comes on 4 LPs, and the LPs are really, really sweet. We've got Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff. And of course, the colors indicate the color of vinyl that is in each one of these. So the whole series film score has been put out on 4 LPs, and each one has been given a particular house. And I think that's really cool. It just looks cool, and it's awesome. So I'm super pumped to have gotten that. I love the music from the Harry Potter series, and so that was something I've been watching for, gosh, probably a year or so, wanting to buy. It's always been overseas. It's always been sold by the Amazon UK group, which is fine. They ship it to you for free if you're a Prime member from overseas. It just takes a little longer. This one just happened to pop up on Amazon's own website here in the United States, and the price dropped huge, and so I had to pick it up. And I think I paid about $50 less than they normally charge for this when it came out. So happy to have this. This is just super cool to me. All right, the last thing for this month that I want to show you is something I didn't think I'd be able to buy, but then I ended up with some Christmas money, waited for the release date, went to my store, and their UPS truck hadn't come for 2 days, and they didn't get any of the new releases, and I was just bummed. And I said, well, did you at least order this? And they said, yes, we ordered that. And so I said, all right, I'm going to have to try and come back and pick it up sometime this weekend. So that Sunday, I had a little free time. I ran up to the store, and there it was. I was super pumped. I picked it up. This is Eric Clapton's box set. This is the complete, what do they call it? The complete Reprise studio albums. This is volume 2, so the later years of it, box set. It's got the albums Reptile, Me and Mr. Johnson, which I already have a copy of, Sessions for Robert J, Back Home, Clapton, and Rarities 2001 to 2010. So Reptile is one I don't know if it ever actually got a vinyl issue, and if it did, I've never ever seen it in person. Back Home is one that I have seen in person, but the price tag on that is typically around $200 for an original pressing of Back Home. The songs, the Me and Mr. Johnson is an album you can get pretty easily on Amazon. I picked one up a couple years back. It's a fantastic, phenomenal album. It's Eric Clapton covering all of Robert Johnson songs. It's really, really fun listen. This one is spread out over 2 LPs instead of just one as the original came. And then Sessions for Robert J are kind of just the session recordings for that album. Has a couple of or a few different tracks on there, a few different takes of what ended up on the album as well. Really fun listen to it. Also, again, Robert Johnson songs played by Eric Clapton. And then Clapton is an album I didn't even know was out there. I don't know how I missed this and how I missed that this was even an album, but I didn't even know it was out there. So that was kind of weird. And then Rarities, of course, is some studio tracks that were either B-sides, not released on vinyl before, or even some live tracks. And the quality of this box set is absolutely phenomenal. I'll show you here the Eric Clapton Reptile album. Gatefold, really, really nice. Everything is just beautiful. They did an awesome job. The sound quality is fantastic. You know, here's the Mr. Johnson album, the Sessions for Robert J. You got Back Home. Really cool to see. Now this retails for $200. So the way I looked at it was I could pick up a copy of the albums I don't have, which were few and far between. I don't have Reptile. I didn't have the self-titled Clapton, and I didn't have Back Home. Back Home alone was going to cost me $200 just to get a copy of that. And then Reptile, like I said, I don't even know if that was ever put on vinyl in the first place. And then the Clapton album, I think I can get at this one here. I think I can get that at a normal price anywhere else. But again, to get Back Home in the first place, you're going to spend the same amount as you did on a full box set. The quality of the box set is absolutely great. I think they did an awesome job with this. I listened to everything on here so far, and the sound quality is awesome, and I'm super pumped to get these albums into my Clapton collection. I have all of his studio albums now on vinyl. I'm super excited about that. Clapton was a huge artist for my dad. He was a massive Clapton fan. We grew up listening to Clapton, and he passed that love of Clapton on to me. I was lucky enough to see him in concert back in the day, and it was awesome. So I've been trying to get as many Clapton albums, as far as getting all his studio albums that I can, because it's sentimental to me, and I'm just a big fan of his work. And so to have this box set released was awesome. They did a fantastic job. It looks great. It sounds great. And yeah, can't say enough about it. So there it is, Clapton box set. If you're on the fence, $200 is worth it to me, especially with the albums that you're getting that are hard to find anywhere else. That's going to do it for this month's vinyl haul. This was a long video. I did buy a lot of stuff, but I'm super excited about what I did pick up and really enjoyed everything so far. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment below. Love interacting with the vinyl community. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and follow us along for the journey. And we'll be back next week with another 5 random albums from Discogs Shuffle episode from my catalog. I hope you'll join me then. And until then, keep spinning, vinyl friends.